Hi, and welcome back to the book club. We are looking at the book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. So, this is session two, and we are looking this time on the lies that stop us focusing. So, what Gary Keller's doing here is he's challenging a lot of the ideas that we have been taught to admire. Things like multitasking and constant busyness, having a perfect work-life balance, and the belief that successful people must have endless energy and discipline. I think we all read about or hear about these leaders who get up at 4 in the morning and do an hour of an hour in the gym, and then they sit down and they're productive, and then they drink, like, have their coffee, and they do their work, and then they take their kids to school, and then they go and fly on a plane to another city and run a meeting. We hear about these incredible people, and we're led to believe that they are only successful because they get up at, I don't know, 4 in the morning or something. And so these lies are kind of habits and beliefs that make us feel productive. This is what we've been brought up, or from social media, we've soaked up to believe that this is what we need to do in order to make us successful. But actually, what these things are doing is scattering our attention. So I'm going to talk briefly about what these lies are, and then how they applied to me, and that will hopefully allow you to think about how they apply to you, and what you believe, or the ways you act around these subconscious beliefs that might actually be sabotaging your business. So, number one, everything matters equally. So we are led to believe that when you run a business, you've got to work in your business, you've got to work on your business, you've got to do everything, and it's all equally as important. You've got to build up your social media, you've got to create your offers, you've got to hustle and try and get in front of some customers, you've got to actually then do the thing that it is you're selling, and everything matters equally. But it doesn't, in actual fact. Some tasks do create momentum and results, and others simply sort of maintain motion. And the book argues that success comes from identifying the task that matters most, and therefore giving the most energy to that task. So for us, what might that look like? It might look like creating visibility, putting ourselves out on social media matters more than endlessly tweaking what we're putting out, or tweaking our offers, or tweaking our websites, or whatever. Just get out there. That is more important. That's the thing that's going to grow your audience for you. Publishing matters more than perfecting. So this is linked to what I've just said. Me, for example, I am making YouTube videos. I'm not the best at making YouTube videos, but do I want to sit in a studio and practice and practice and practice until I think I'm ready? Or am I just going to put myself out there? My videos are infinitely better than they were when I started, which will tell you how bad they were when they started. But just get yourself out there. Lead generation matters more than busy admin. So, we can sit and do loads of admin in our business, but producing something that people want, showing people what you do, the value you can bring to their business, how you can help them with their transformation, that's what matters. So just produce a small guide or something that's going to help somebody in some way, and that is how you grow your warm audience, people who are interested in the services that you offer. And just leading on from that, building that audience matters much more than consuming information. So how much time do you spend looking at other people who do similar things to you and getting a bit overwhelmed by that? That's kind of not helpful. Speaking for yourself and just doing it and building your audience and finding your tribe, people will be drawn to you because of who you are, not because of who you're not. They'll go to the other person for that thing, but be yourself and show up, and you will build your audience. So line number 2, multitasking. Oh my goodness. So when I was in the corporate world, when I was a younger person in the corporate world, certainly, we were taught that multitasking was what you had to do. You know, you were smart. If you could do 2, 3 things at once, you were smart. You were going to go far. You were going to get on well in the world. But what Gary Keller is arguing here is that multitasking is just rapid task switching. So your brain is going from one task to another, to another, to another, backwards and forwards between 2, 3 tasks. And that's not a great way for your brain to function. So every time you sit down to do your work on your business, and you jump between Instagram or LinkedIn or your Kajabi site, if that's working for you, or your email, or researching providers in your area that, or potential clients in your area, or admin, or anything, you lose a little bit of that mental energy and focus. And the result of that is that you feel that you've been busy all day. You've been so busy all day, but you then feel frustrated because what have you actually achieved? You could feel mentally exhausted, and you get sort of very little deep progress doing this, and your thinking is all sort of fragmented. So he argues that the alternative is to do focused blocks of work. So instead of having all these different tabs open and checking everything constantly, right, I've posted on LinkedIn, I've got my emails open there, I've got my Kajabi site here, I've got the directory for the Arts Council here, I've got funding options open here. You could try blocking your time. So for 90 minutes today, I'm going to do content creation only. And then for 30 minutes this afternoon, I'm going to do admin. And I'm going to have a definite break at this time. And I'm then going to have an hour, which is a focused lead generation session, whether that be creating a lead magnet, whether it be researching funding for your particular niche, or physical places to go or people to approach, whatever that looks like for you. So line number 3, a disciplined life is the answer. So we just talked about getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, for example, and going to the gym, and then sitting down at, I don't know, 7 with your coffee, and you're going to be productive. What Gary Keller argues here is that willpower is not something we can switch on and off whenever we feel like it, and that it's more like a battery. And to really get to know your own rhythms, your own energy rhythms. Now, I know for me that working from, say, 8 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon is great. I'm really productive. I'm really on fire. My brain works well in that time. Between 2 and 5 or 2 and 6, that's a bit more of a slump for me. That might be a time to do physical tasks or to exercise, take the dog for a walk, get some fresh air, go and do any chores that I've got to do. This is on a completely sort of free day where I've got the choice to do what I want to do. Or also, if I've got a full day of, say, I'm doing a seminar or a training session, then I might want to schedule some downtime the next day, because you can't keep your willpower on all the time. And when you're making lots of decisions, that drains this sort of battery of your willpower. When you have constant interruptions, that drains this willpower battery as well. Clutter, just sitting at a desk that's really cluttered, or in a room that's cluttered, stress and context switching. These are all the things that just pull all this energy out of your brain. really sort of affect this willpower battery. So the goal is not to become superhuman, but the goal is designing your life so that the important things happen before energy disappears. So that means doing meaningful work early. That really works for me. Not starting the day reactively. Be intentional about what you're doing. Protect your thinking time. Shut the door. Go for a walk. Whatever you need to do to be away from interruptions so that you can think and plan. And reduce unnecessary decisions. So for me, that might look like not going into my inbox first thing in the morning. It might be creating something before I go and consume. So if I've got some research that I need to do, which involves me looking at other people's accounts or the way other people have set things up, things that I might want to get ideas, that's great. That might feed into tomorrow's work, but first things first, do my own creation for that day before I start consuming content. And that just goes on to what I just said, like, is you're planning tomorrow, today. So it might be a good thing to work with one of these productive times and sit and make your to-do list for tomorrow. What do I want to do? I want to be intentional. I do this with my CEO time on a Monday morning. I've done this for years and years. And I sit and allow a block of 2 or 3 hours simply to intentionally, what do I want my business to be doing over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Batch your repetitive tasks together. So if you've got to create some Instagram post, LinkedIn post, whatever, just batch that, do it all together. You might want to, if you've got a podcast, you might want to script and record 3 or 4 episodes of that podcast all in one day, one morning, and then you can schedule them into your Kajabi. If you've got Kajabi, that will do your podcast for you, or Buzzsprout, or whatever it is you use. So there's some little tips about the sort of discipline that works, as opposed to this myth that, you know, getting up at 4 in the morning and going to the gym and then sitting down and doing your work. So it's about working with your energy. So again, talking about, I've touched on this already, but the other light, that willpower is always available. Your best thinking happens when your mental energy is the highest. So just reiterating really that important work should always happen before you start looking on social media. How many of you pick your phone up first thing in the morning and start scrolling? I think most of us are pretty aware that that's not a good thing to do, but it's an unconscious thing. I know many people who do that, wake up, reach for the phone, start scrolling. Decision fatigue, distractions and stress and tiredness. So your one thing work, your focus, your intentional work needs to happen in the hours when your brain is freshest and not squeezed into the leftovers of the day, so not fitted in at the end of the day. Another myth, that a balanced life is possible all the time. No, it doesn't. Sometimes if something matters, it gets more attention. Sometimes you might be working on a launch or something that requires a lot of visibility, so that's going to get more attention than perhaps your family or health. It doesn't mean you should neglect those things, but sometimes you do have to put more attention into one area, and that can cause us a lot of stress if we then start to feel guilty about all the things that we're not doing. Sometimes it can be the other way around. It could be a family member is ill, and you need to give more attention to that than you can to your business. So it's about accepting that a balanced life is not always achievable. It all depends what season of your life you're in, and working with that. So one of the strongest underlying ideas in this part of the book is that your energy, your cognitive energy, your brain health, your brain energy matter. It matters enormously because your business depends on clarity, decision making, creativity, consistency, communication, confidence, and showing up, and strategic thinking. That is all work that you do with your brain, not your hands or whatever. This is all your brain doing all this work. So focus in blocks and look after your brain health. So how do we look after our brain health in this? How do we give ourselves the best chance possible of having this sort of healthy brain that can do this productive work for us? So we're talking about nutrition here and lifestyle. We are talking about having proper hydration, drinking plenty of water throughout the day, not endless caffeine, having enough sleep, making sure we've slept. I know for myself, if I go to bed late, if I've had a glass of wine the night before, and I do those things occasionally, I know not to plan in anything that's really cognitively important the next morning. I will plan in other tasks because I know that that's not when I'm going to do my best work. Whereas if I've had proper hydration and enough sleep, then I'm far more likely to be functioning. Eating well, eating proper protein. You know, your brain will run on protein. Movement, getting some exercise, breathing, keeping your body moving, keeping active. Having fewer distractions, close the door, go to a cafe, go somewhere, put your headphones on, go somewhere where nobody's going to be interrupting you. Take breaks before burnout. Don't sit there at your desk until you cannot think any further. Maybe schedule in. So if I start at 8, I will schedule in a break around 10, where I'll normally have something to eat, something protein, something good, and a drink. And then I'll carry on again because I know my productive phase is between 8 and 2. So I'll have half an hour break at 10, and then I'll probably go on till 12. So I'll work in sort of 2-hour blocks. And I know that after 2 hours, my brain's starting to get a little bit overstimulated or a little bit tired. So again, I'll build in a 15-minute break, pop the dog out for a really quick walk, grab a drink, grab a snack, and then come back again. And just the other tip not to burn your brain out is just reduce this task switching. So block your work. And when we think about nutrition as well, a really important thing is to eat well and have steady energy rather than sugar and caffeine spikes. That's why it's better to drink water. I do have coffee in the morning, always. But that's pretty much it. After that, I'll drink water, herbal tea. Try and keep yourself hydrated without those caffeine spikes. And I know from experience that if I reach and have a bar of chocolate, it's great. It spikes me. I'm really fast for about 10 minutes and then I'll crash. So I try and eat healthily. So one thing I like to have when I'm doing this kind of work, working from 8 till 2, I'll have something like Greek yogurt with oatmeal, fruit, chia seeds, walnuts, and a bit of honey on the top, because that is full of protein. It's full of all the good things that are going to keep my brain going. It's going to fill me up and keep me going for a few hours. So the summary of this bit is extraordinary results, progress does not come through doing more things. It comes more from choosing the right thing to do. So choose intentionally what it is you're going to be working on. Protect your attention. Conserve your energy. Work deeply. Say no more often. And allowing focus to compound over time. I quite often listen to, it won't work for everybody, but I listen to productivity frequency. So I'll go onto YouTube, I'll choose a separate tab so that if I close my, I work on Safari, so I'll close my Safari tab down, my website tabs. I don't accidentally switch it off, but or conversely, if I need to record something, I can switch the tab off quickly. So I have it on a separate browser window, and I type in productivity frequency or concentration frequency and go onto YouTube and put one of those things on in the background at a low level. And for me, that gets me in flow. That gets me working. That supports my brain in doing one thing at a time and not flitting about with 101 open browsers. So just to reiterate some of this, being busy is not the same as being effective. We can spend a whole day working and still avoid the thing that will actually move our business and our life forward. So if we just think about what I'm doing at the moment, I am building up my Kajabi business and my Kajabi visibility. That's not the only thing I do. I support people who don't have Kajabi, who might have different technical platforms, who might not have a platform at all. They might have an online business. I might be doing mentoring and accountability work with those people. They might be in my community. So I'm keeping my community going, and that's got all those sorts of people in. I might be researching a new book for book club. I might be looking at this book for book club. I might be thinking, actually, I've got to record a few things today. I've been doing a social media experiment with cat videos. I might be thinking about cat videos. I might be updating my lead magnets. I might think, oh, I've not put anything on my LinkedIn for a while. I need to put something on LinkedIn, which is more of a professional platform. I might also be thinking about my future income. What's my future income going to be? Where do I want to be next year? What do I want to be? Where's my, how am I going to generate that income? I might be wondering what my daughter's doing. She's off at university, so that's going to occupy a big bit of my brain space. I know I've got to apply for her student finance with her. I know I've got to help her move house. She's switching courses at the moment, and I'm so proud of her for doing that. But I had to think, it's an extra year at university. What does that mean? I'm thinking about my business growth, as discussed. But I'm also thinking about my practical life admin. I've moved house recently. Have I told everybody I need to tell that I've moved house? Have I sent off all the relevant paperwork? I need to apply for another passport. My passport runs out in a couple of months. I need to think about what's coming up now. Isn't everybody using AI at the moment? Shouldn't I be looking into how we use AI better? And oh, goodness me, Kajabi's got loads of new features coming. It's really exciting, and I'm looking at those and thinking, how will these apply for my clients or my future clients? And I'm thinking, I'm supporting my daughter's dad, my husband Lee, he has Alzheimer's, and I have to support him. I go and see him. I do things, for him, his admin. And I get a lot of joy out of seeing him and helping him do that. But it's also not an easy thing. And then, oh my goodness, I need to eat well. I've just explained to you that I like to make yogurt and these healthy things. I need to go and get some of those things. And I probably should go to yoga, and I've got to walk the dog. Are you exhausted? Do you see what a huge cognitive load that is, and how many tabs I might have open, how many browser windows I've got open at one time if I'm not really kind of intentional about my work and my day. This is why I love this book. Um, I love this book so much. I can't reach anything at the moment, but I have the one thing stamped on my laptop case and also on my folder, like I've got a leather folio folder that I carry around with me because it's such a good reminder to close some of these tabs down. Because if I don't, I'm going to sit here trying to, and I've got 2 hours to work on my business now. I'm constantly thinking about, oh, but I've got to apply for the student finance and we've got to do this and I've got to walk the dog and, oh, now the dog's barking because I haven't walked the dog. Do you see? We need to slow down. We need to slow down and concentrate on the one tab that we have planned to have open. And we need to know that that tab is the one thing that's going to move us forward. So, yeah, let's just think about multitasking again for just for a moment, because I think this is something that's so ingrained in all of us, and it's, you know, all those tabs that I was just talking about having open is it's almost a badge of honor when you are in the workplace, in my experience, to be busy. It's almost, oh, look how busy Helen is. Oh my God, she must be really good. She's so busy. Look how many things she's doing at once. She's answering that email, look, but her phone's just rang and she's just answered the phone, and somebody's just gone up and asked her a question, and she's managing to do all of these things. But what's happening to Helen's energy reserves while she's doing that? So these are the lies, and this is sort of what we are unconsciously, subconsciously. These are the things that we're believing, that we should be multitasking, that we can get up and work at any point. And what I really want you to think about is your energy levels, how much time you've got, how much capacity you've got. You know, if you've got children or relatives that you need to look after, then you're not going to have the capacity that I might have at the moment with my daughter not living here. You know, I will have more capacity in that way. So work with your capacity, work with what is going to move your business forward. Try and be aware of the overwhelm that happens when we try and do too many things at once. Eat well, preserve your energy if you can, or if you know you're going to have like an evening where you're going to be late, you're going to be out, schedule your next morning so that you're doing less brain focused tasks. Tidy your office, get rid of that clutter in your office, rather than sitting there trying to generate lead magnets or create emails or whatever. But work for yourself with your own way and work intentionally, and understand that working efficiently is better than being busy. Okay, so I hope that was useful. Leave me your comments as always.